Somebody had asked about wild grapes and wild plums and stuff. I did a video about them before. Now these are the wild plums that we have. Well, there's one variety of them. See, it's the thing about wild plums is they vary a lot from tree to tree. And these particular plums are the ones that they're very hard and there isn't a lot of juice in them. And this little patch of trees here, often hardly gets any on. This particular year, these really come around, which makes it a problem because I was thinking about taking these out because I hay in here and these are kind of in the way. But there is, you know, there's something there, so I guess the thing is, like a guy would have to pick them right now. If they get any riper, they'll fall off, and then they lay on the ground. So if I'm going to do something with them, it would have to be pretty soon. Like I say, usually there ain't a lot to them, but there's something there. But I've got better plums at home. But the trees at home really didn't get many plums on this year. But it's like choke cherries are that way. There's a lot of different variations in choke cherries from one place to another, from one tree to another. So, like sometimes, with the wild grapes, sometimes you get a lot of them, sometimes you get none. That's just the way it is with wild fruit. They're a little unpredictable. Particularly like these, a lot of times they're blooming right at the time when you could get a frost. Well, then you're screwed. But this year there's a lot of them, so I might have to, if they'll hang on, they're still fairly firmly attached. If they hang on a little while longer, I'm kind of busy right now, but if we get a little time. What I'm doing now though is haying. And that's what made me think of these because I have to drive right by here. I'm haying this meadow out here that I have hayed before. I'm trying to get this cleaned up to make it a better place to have hay. But it's kind of a neat little area, but like I say, I hay clean back in here. But that's where these plum trees are kind of a nuisance to work around. You got to make a lot of corners. But I quit early today because this part up in here is pretty brushy kind of. And there's a lot of moisture in this. So it was tough mowing. But I'll go at it again, let it dry a little bit. In fact, the one a little further over there, I was actually driving through water. Well, that's not the best mowing in water. But my stock pond is right over here. I guess I can go portable here. Doesn't seem to shake too bad if I actually have it on the tripod. And get rid of that clicking there. But that stock pond has got a little water in it again now after that rain. I kind of filled that in. But normally you can see it's about 3 feet higher. At about 3 feet it'll run over. And then it runs way out into that big open spot and then makes its way down into a stream. There's another one of those thorn apple trees that I gotta mow around. You don't want to get close to them. But I'm leaving that one and I am mowing around it. And there's a lot of little oak trees that are starting there because eventually I would like to let that, you know, I've got one stream that runs from that group of trees, okay, all the way across the whole pasture. Then I've got a second stream that starts where that pool is, and that runs all the way across the pasture. And both of them, when they get to my north fence line, they sink back into the ground. The water comes up here, goes down here. Comes up again in the swamp further down, but yeah, this ain't much for haying, but I'm trying to get it cleaned up, so I figured, well, I'll go ahead and do it anyway. But then on the other side of them trees is that high plateau that I'm going to have to go at too. And even on the other side of those trees, where my shooting range is, there's a pretty good area of some pretty good grass. Well, here's one stem of this stuff that we call turkey foot, but that grass is really long. You know, you got like a 4-foot stem there, so it's nice you can get a good stand of that going, but that's just in a pollinating stage right now. But I've got some of that knocked down, some that was in here. Hopefully, you know, you keep spreading that around, get a good stand of that going. Well, like right there on top of that hill, you can see that whole thing has got that. You know, I don't know how good a feed it is, but it sure bulks up a bale in a hurry. But she's a little tough mowing. But I did, this is where I knocked down them pocket gopher mounds, so that helped a little. But you're dealing with tangled, matted June grass, you know, so a lot of times you don't even see the end of the mower, you just see the grass wiggling. But this little hilltop here, I've got to actually come in and move. I was cutting wood here, so I got little hunks of wood laying around. I got to get them out of the way before I can move this. But I'll let it dry there too. Like I say, this stuff, it holds water. And then there are spots in here that have got a lot of leafy spurge in them, though I've been trying to get rid of that. But like this patch in here, you know, that's got a hell of a lot of spurge in it. And the horses will not even eat in an area that's got spurge in. So that just grows and grows. But I keep trying to knock her down. Eventually I'll get that under control, hopefully. I've got a lot of that on that high plateau too, so you know, that's got to be taken care of. And I terrified a bunch of frogs because I mowed right up next to the edge. And there is a lot of big green frogs in there. But this had dried down so there wasn't much water left in it. Well, there's all kinds of frog activity. And the horses really don't drink out of here much, so they like to come down here and splash around. And I have been known to do it myself. But if I get this hayed, and then on the other side of that gate over there, I got that part cut down too. But it's a little tough mowing. You know, there's a lot, it isn't like you're in a big open field where you can just go. You know, I've got obstacles, trees and bushes and like I say, them plum trees that I got to work around. And then all along this south edge here, I try to stay away from the tree line because I'm trying to let them go and spread. Those are popples. Yeah, it's kind of so-so wood, but the trees are nice. They hold their leaves long into the fall. But they're one of these trees that are all kind of tied together. You know, the root system. So I kind of like to let them spread. You know, it ain't like a cottonwood that seeds with some seeds. It goes from the roots. So when I mow, I have to watch and not nip down all these little popples that are coming. Yeah, maybe I should just leave my plums, let the popples go all the way out to the plums, then not even hay back here. But I got to get some weeds down first. And then over here, you get into the raspberries, which I don't see that many on there. There was quite a few on earlier, but they're kind of backing off now. I think we're getting to the end of the season for them. See, here's a lot of that tall turkeyfoot grass. Grows in bunches. You know, you can see there's one main stem that goes high, but there's a lot of grass around the base of it. Now, this is all raspberries here. Yeah, and I don't see hardly any of them in here. But there again, you know, they got a short season. And there really wasn't as many as there usually is. But that's when I mow, I kind of stay away from this too. I want to leave the raspberries go. But I like, poplar trees are nice trees. It's kind of interesting wood. And it does burn for firewood. But we got a few days of clear, sunny weather. So I'm trying to get as much of this as cleaned up as I can. You know, it just makes it easier next year. But she's got a few pocket gophers, and right down there is where I'm driving through water, because that stock pond is fed. We've got a culvert in down there on the road, and that whole big area beyond it feeds water into my stock pond. Oh, here's something I don't know if you've ever seen this. These are annoying though. What happens is the grass will get a kind of a mold growing, and grubs get underneath and eat the roots. And skunks and coons will come along and they will roll this sod up and get, like there's a grub. But first time I ever saw that, I thought, who in the hell is? I thought a person was doing it, you know. But it's coons and skunks looking for grubs. I think they must smell them or listen for them, but you'll come, you'll find a big area all tore up, and you can smooth it back out. But sometimes you'll roll up big areas. Yeah. And the Broncos are feeling Bronco-ish. You know, that girlie, for being a pretty old horse, she's gotten to be in pretty good shape. You know, they've got a lot of grass here. Yeah, she tears around. As they like it now, the flies ain't bugging them so much. But it's funny because they'll sit at home and I hear this dump, 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 dump as they're running out in the pasture. But she's in good shape for being a pretty old horse. And that ghost, there ain't not wrong with him. He's full of piss and vinegar. But usually she doesn't want to tear. But lately, she's feeling pretty darn spry. And they kind of like that, you know, when I mow. Horses are funny. If I mow the grass down, then this fresh regrowth that comes back, they like that. They don't like the tall, long grass. But that fresh regrowth, that's right up their alley. Yeah, hopefully the chickens are in bed. But nice weather for haying. But she's rough ground.